I guess what you're saying is that in terms of where we're headed and people changing their minds, one way the minds will be changed is if we have a crack-up boom, because they will learn that they were mistaken in terms of their viewpoint. But the preferred solution would be education and political will. First, so that people understand that the problems that are why they're there, why they arise, and why we're headed in the wrong direction, and then combine that with political will by leaders so that they can actually steer a better educated public in the right direction to avoid going over the cliff.
Well, it's hard to say whether this change in monetary affairs will be a smooth process or whether it will be a rather difficult process in terms of its political and economic consequences. I'm inclined to think the latter will be the case, but that shouldn't keep us from educating people, to make people familiar with the workings of the Austrian School of Economics, because I think it provides the highest standards in terms of its economic and ethical foundation in the field of, let's say, macroeconomics or economics as such. And I find that the Austrian school is no longer really taught, let's say, in the US. But I have to say, in the US, we have the epicenter of Austrian economics, the Ludwig von Mises Institute in Auburn, Alabama. Mm-hmm. But over here in Europe, it has really disappeared. I mean, the Austrian school has disappeared from universities. And I think it's very important to make people, again, familiar with their teachings. And I would say, if we want to have a revolution, it starts with the Austrians.
It's interesting you say that, because here at the, we're here at the Go Ahead Business Conference in Vienna, Austria, and I've spoken to a couple of people who are clearly, Austrian thinking, and I asked, well, did you learn it in school, when you were here at the university in Vienna? And they said no, they only learned about Austrian economics after they graduated and started reading, and things like Mises.org and various other ways about the Austrian school. I found that very ironic. But it's clear that both sides of the Atlantic, I think the Austrian school is starting to gain more and more adherents, simply because of the logic upon which it's built, and of course the most fundamental point, which is Mises' great book, Human Action. Economics is not about mathematic models; it's about people interacting with one another, taking actions to improve their situations in life voluntarily in the marketplace.
Absolutely, I think the Austrians actually make a very humane case. It's about property rights. It's respecting other people's property, and as you say, it's logic in a sense, and that is, of course, due to Mises' reconstruction of economics along the line of what I mentioned earlier, praxeology, and that is the logic of human action. And he has a completely different basis from which to start to deal with all the important economic aspects, be it money, be it exchange, be it pricing processes in the market system. And if you really think it through, you find the deficiencies of, let's say, the mainstream economic thinking. And as you know, the mainstream economic thinking is really guiding policy making around the world. We shouldn't be surprised to see all these problems. But as you say, there's growing interest, I would say, in the Austrian School of Economics.
Yeah, I agree. I want to turn to markets, but before I do, I just want to say to the viewers of this video that if they want to learn more about it, I would highly recommend going to Mises.org, M-I-S-E-S.org, and download for free a pamphlet by Marie Rothbard called What Has Government Done to Our Money? It would be a very good introduction into the Austrian School of Economic Thinking. Yeah, you agree?
But, of course. I mean, one of the first recommendations I hand out to my students.
Oh, okay, okay, that's good.
Along the line with the mystery of banking.
Yeah, I agree. That's a great book as well.